Alright, I wanted to make a video and show you guys how I installed my water softener in the house. You can see that I ran all PVC pipe. Here's the old stuff that came out. It was copper. That's our old water filter for the house. And I had tapped into this right here for our refrigerator. I also added a valve. That valve wasn't on there. I added it to the bottom of that filter so we could drain off the pressure. And it did have a bypass right here. So I'm probably going to save that, but I'm terrible at soldering copper, so I just went ahead and ran PVC. But we'll do a little bit of an overview here. We got our well line that comes in right here. But you can see that this used to go straight through, and all I've done is I've 90'd over. There is 3 valves that I put in here, and basically what that does is allows me to turn off the water softener and turn on, just bypass it. That way I can work on everything. If I have to change that filter, I turn the pressure off and I'm able to replace that. Over to the filter. I've put on here the filter model number and the date that I put it in. To mount this, it came with this nice bracket, but I had, it's all stone behind it. So what I ended up doing is I had these 2 metal brackets. They're pretty thick material. And I just spaced them out with some nuts. I needed a 1-inch space between it to make these line up. And I bolted it together. And then up here, you can see I just went ahead and put it on the back side and drilled some holes in my floor truss or whatever, and secured it that way. And it's nice and solid. It doesn't go anywhere. So it comes out of here. Oh, one thing too is if you look in here, you'll see that I have some thread sealant that I used. Well, that's the stuff it's liquid and you stick it on the threads and thread it in. Everything after this filter that was threaded was leaking, and I don't know why. I did the same thing here. I had some good blue Rhino PTFE tape, and for whatever reason this side did not leak, so I left it alone. But ended up having to redo everything on this side. So, we got the old pipes that I had ran right there in that box of trash. But it comes out of here, goes down into the back of the water softener, comes out of the water softener, and you can see I put 2 unions on. Before I did not have unions because the unions I was able to buy at the one store I went to were only threaded, and that just to me made it so that you'd have more chance of leaking. I went back to the store this morning to redo all this. I needed to get more pipe, and I seen that they had these glue-in ones, so I went ahead and bought them. But it comes out, goes over, and this here is for our refrigerator. And you've seen how I did that before, but this time I went ahead and I put a T, reduced it down, put a 1/4-inch valve, and then I have one of those 1/4-inch slip fittings that this stuff could plug into. This is just air brake line. And you can see how brown it is. Before I had it tied in to the pipe that went into the water softener. This time, because of how brown that is and how much iron we have, I went ahead and tied it in after. That goes through the filter in the refrigerator anyway. So, and then it comes over through the valve and then out through the rest of the house. Right now, this is going through a 60-second cycle. Before that started, there was another 15-minute cycle. Yeah, it's at 46 minutes. That 15-minute cycle was a backwash. So what that was doing was kind of purging the air and backwashing the whole system. And that was just coming out of this. This is your waste line when it backwashes. And I've ran that up here. And again, I have this is a 1/2-inch air brake tube, and I have a slip fit here, stainless steel slip fit. This 1-inch piece here was actually just a plug. I ended up drilling a hole in the top, and I had a 1/2-inch NPT pipe tap, and so I went ahead and I tapped it and stuck that in there, and it's working out really nice. They, in their instructions, said they do not recommend you do it this way for possible bacteria contamination. This is the way the old one was done, and I never had any trouble out of it. So that's the bulk of it. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I haven't mentioned. On the startup, it did say to put in 2 bags or 80-pound worth of salt and then 5 gallons of water, which I had done. Before it started this 60-second cycle, there was actually water in here that was covering the salt, so it has sucked a lot of that out. So I'm sure it'll fill that back up when it's ready, or when it's done, and then I can go ahead and add salt in. I did buy 8 bags of salt. So with the salt, I wasn't sure how much I'd need, but with the salt, all the fittings and everything, the cost of that was about, I'd say, $290. And then the water softener system was, I think it's a 48,000 grain. So it's quite a bit bigger. It's I'd say 1.5 feet taller. This brine tank is also a lot bigger around, I'd say double the size. So I figured it couldn't hurt to go a little bit bigger. But that was with the filter. This whole unit was $600 on sale. So I got a pretty good deal on it. And with that, I think that about covers everything.